how can we make your business more visible online so that more clients find your salon or spa business when searching online. So before we go in, I just want to hear a little bit like who we have here. So there's already some emojis and stuff going in the chat. So if you just want to tell me like where you're calling in from, like the city and the type of business you run, would be really helpful for me, because then I can understand a little bit like who we're working with today. Because I know we're among friends in today's session. So I really invited two different groups of people. So either you're a subscriber at the Salon business and have been for a while, or you're a user of the Mangomint software. It's either one of those, that makes, the reason why you're here today, because that's the people that I invited. So you probably belong to one or both of them. Okay, so I see New York, New Zealand even. Okay, awesome. Krista from Portland. We have London in as well. Nice. And we have Barber, Dubai, South Africa. So we have really a mix of people. And I see Alenka from Slovenia, who I know very well. Welcome, Alenka, as well. So, great to have you all here. I think most of you will be familiar with me in one way or another. So I started the Salon business, 4 years ago. And then earlier this year, we came together with the Salon software, the Mangomint platform, which is great for you, because that means that we can offer a lot more when it comes to education and so on, like what we're doing today. So excited about that. But before we dive in to the topic, just one more question. Do you ever do like research online when you want to book or buy something? So maybe like, let's say you want to book a table in a restaurant. Would you ever go online to research that before? Yes, I see yeses coming in. Absolutely. So you're not alone, right? 86% of people do. This is actually a number from last year. It's probably even higher now. It's just becoming more and more important for a business to be visible online. This is where we go to find out, what is the right provider to go to, like you do, like with all the yeses when you want to go to a restaurant. People do the same when they're looking for the type of business that you run or for the type of services that you offer. So it's really important that we pay attention to this and that we do what we need to do to make sure that we're showing up properly online when people are looking. And hey, Siad as well. So I see a lot of familiar names here. That's fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so what I'm just asking you for the kind of next 30 minutes is just to reduce any distractors that you have going. I know it's tempting to look at, social or your phone or whatever is popping up and grabbing your attention. But really, this is like an investment of time. It's 30 minutes. I really want to cram in a lot in these 30 minutes so that you leave with like actionable things that you can actually go and make different in your business following this. So, try to stay focused. Towards the end, I'll leave time for Q&A for those who want to stay on a little bit longer. I'll try to answer any questions and then also show you kind of how you can get access to more resources. So talking about distractions, right? It's easy to get distracted when it comes to marketing in 2023. There's so many different things you could be doing and that people are telling you that you should be doing as well, right? And a lot of marketing today is also like, it requires a lot of work. It requires us to like post frequently or to like run campaigns, to send out things, to do a lot of work, which can be exhausting, right? It's like being on a treadmill when, you need to post to keep up with the algorithms if you want to like, shine on Instagram or, whatever platform you choose. This is quite a lot of work with a lot of them. And also in my experience with working with a lot of different business owners within this industry is also that like sometimes we do it for a while, but then we kind of like fall off that. We don't run any campaigns. We don't run those activities. And then, the flow of new clients kind of stops and we need to kind of come back onto that treadmill to do more and more. So what I want to focus on today is something that is kind of like more foundational, which is about just making your business more visible online so that when people are out there, are looking for what you offer, they find you, so that we improve the chance that happens, because that doesn't really require you do so much ongoing, right? When you are visible, people will start to find you. So that's really what we're going to focus on today. And in fact, like, do you remember how we met? Like, do you remember how you found the Salon business the first time? So for some of you, I know you're coming from Mangomint and you're here because of that. But for those of you who like found the Salon business, do you remember what you did? Like, do you remember how you got in contact with the Salon business or in contact with me the first time? Like, if you want to put that in the chat. So Anita is saying Google searching. Yeah. YouTube. Yes. For sure. So you were probably like, yeah, I see SEO, Google. Yeah. So like what I'm talking about here today is also like, it's not just me helping other businesses doing this. I implement this in all of my businesses. So most likely what happened when you found me is that you were searching for, so I see Tiffany was searching for something about Square on YouTube. Yeah, so you were probably searching for something. Could be on YouTube. It could be on Google. I've just tried to make it really, I've tried to make the Salon business quite visible. So like if you're out there looking for, like in this case, I'm just using this example, like salon marketing strategy, because in the end, that's what we're talking about today is a salon marketing strategy. You will probably land at the Salon business and kind of get in contact, and then maybe, you know, we're together like this here. So I'm telling you this because a lot of these resources that you're talking about in the chat here as well, and mentioning like how you found it through Google, is also like probably like when this example that I'm showing on the screen, like an article like that, or a reason why you're finding me, it's probably something I created maybe 3 years ago, but still it means like every day people are finding this business or like the Salon business because of that, right? Because that was like once created. Now this particular one, I actually update regularly because, you know, marketing changes all the time. But like a lot of other resources and like information that is out there, you know, it has been there for years, but people still like come in contact with me for that reason. And I want to make that exact thing happen in your business as well, because the exact thing, the same principles really applies for how, you know, when people are looking for a spray tan business or looking for a hot stone massage, is looking for a beard trim, whatever it might be in your case. It's not salon marketing strategies for sure, but you know, they should find you, right? So the same principles applies there. So, and yeah, and it's really like when clients are finding you, this is when also we don't need to be as, you know, busy and like keep doing things. It's like clients coming to us. And, you know, for that reason, I believe that this is one of the kind of easiest ways, I would say, to attract clients online, because, you know, you do a little bit of work up front, but then when you have improved your visibility online, you know, people keep finding you. And we're going to focus on Google primarily today. As the place where people go, because it's like the biggest place where people search online. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So like number one, it's local. So over 50% of all the searches that are happening online today are local searches. So it's people who are looking for a, you know, business in the area, is maybe looking for a, you know, something in the area, which means that Google is investing a lot of their resources in capacity in making sure that they can serve up local information, because that's such a big part of how people are using Google. So if you compare this with like social media, for example, like if you post something on Instagram, or if you post something on, you know, most of the other channels, these platforms don't really care so much about where that content is coming from, as long as people engage with that content and that content makes them stay long on the platform, they're happy, right? But it's not so like locally relevant, which means when we work with like search, you're really reaching them people, which is more in your local area, which means people that are more likely to become clients, right? Because they actually in the area. The other piece is when we work with search this way and people discover our business, they discover us at the point where that is relevant for them, right? So if they're looking for like a bridal hairstyle, in this example, you know, that's a certain window in their life when they would be searching for that type of thing and out looking for that. And if you're showing up when that is happening, you know, you're being very relevant to where they are right now. And the final point that I think is the most important one, and I touched on this earlier, is the fact that it's evergreen. So like if we do something to improve visibility of our business, it lasts for a very, very long time without us having to necessarily do so much or to think so much about it, right? So, that's, an important benefit. So, and this is different on social, right? If we want to be visible on social media, we post something, it lives for a short period of time, and then it typically goes away, and we need to get back on, the treadmill again. So as I kind of talk about those like 3 principles for why it's so important for a business to be visible in search in order to attract clients, it might sound like I'm like hating on social media platforms or like Instagram. I'm really not. I just think they play different roles, and you probably want to be present on both, and you can for sure attract new clients on like these platforms, on like social media or on Instagram, like in this example as well. But they play different roles. So like as your social profile or your Instagram account is a great like branding platform, really. So a place where your clients or potential new clients can go to understand better what are the type of work you do. Is this a good fit for what I need? That they can experience your brand there. Where some search is really about new clients. You can even just like looking at those images on the screen there and comparing the two, you'll see that on Google it's about like book now, call now. Here's a map where you are. Here's the businesses that offer what you're looking for. It's really about driving new clients, right? So it's quite different from that sense. All right, so that was just a little bit of like setting the context. I hope you're following along okay, that I'm not talking too fast. We're gonna dive in now and really like make this happen in your business. So it's gonna get quite practical. And I'll really show you like each step that I recommend you to take to improve the visibility of your business online. We will not be able to cover every detail in like the next 20 minutes here, but I'll try to make sure you cover like the main points that are important for you that you can take after this that will actually make a difference already in your business. So our goal is to make sure that you're showing up on this page that you're quite familiar with when you go and search for something. There's a number of different features here, and you can really be visible in all of them. So let's actually like run an example here, and I'll do that live. And I will encourage you to do kind of the same afterwards, also for your business specifically. So what I want you to do like a check on is like if you do a search for like your business name in Google. So let's like don't do it right now. So I will do it together now, and then you'll do it afterwards within your own time. But like do a search for your business. Like what is coming up? How is your business showing up? Do a search for like your business type. So like if you run a day spa, that would be day spa near me, or just like write day spa if you're in the area of your business, or if you offer a service, like do a search for your service as well, and just see what is coming up on that page. And let's actually do a little test together. So I'm just going to fire up a new tab here, go to Google. So if I were to search for, let's say, I'm going to pick a big service in a big city. We can actually use the one that I had on the screen there, Balayage and New York, for example. So just to kind of talk a little bit about what you would see here in the result page. So quite common, you would have, listing websites is what I call that, like Yelp, that basically summarizes different businesses. I'm a little bit surprised this one shows up on top of the map pack. Typically, it's the map that comes up at the top. But yeah, so like listing sites, you'll have this one, which is then showing, you're quite familiar with of course, which is showing businesses in that area. I'm not in New York myself now, so it's just taking all of New York here. If you were to do this, like, in the area where you are, it will, look for businesses around you. And different factors, you'll see like all the ones that are showing up at the top here, because naturally there's a lot of places in New York that would offer the balayage hair service, hair color service. But for some reason, Google choose to show a few here. You can see that they have kind of a lot of ratings and so on. We'll go into that in a bit, why they are showing up. But this is really valuable spot to be, right? When someone is looking for this type of service and they can like schedule immediately. Then you will see Salon websites. So you'll see This is the Salon's website. This is Salon's website. This is another listing site. You'll see images. So typically when we do especially transformational services or hair services, nails as well, you would see images as well, which is also a great way for your business to be visible, to have your images visible here. And in a moment we'll go into practically how you actually make all this happen. And then you see some social accounts, more Salon websites basically. What I'm not seeing here right now, which here is one actually. Here's an ad. You see it says sponsored. Probably you often get them at the top as well, which is basically paid location. I'm not going to cover paid advertising today. We're going to do that in a future session like this. So I'm going to focus on all the organic, the free visibility, how to gain that in today's session. But yeah, so those are the typical things you would get on there, right? So let's head back to the presentation and then focus more on how we get visible there. So again, I do encourage you, when we're done today, do that type of research in your area specifically, so that you see what's going on with your specific business right now and how you're showing up. So let's dive into the steps you need to take to maximize your visibility here. And the way I do this, because everyone who is coming, that I'm working with on this will come in at a different level. Some are quite sophisticated, have been doing a lot with their business already to make sure that it's visible online. And some come in, very fresh. So I try to focus on 5 different levels, which I'm going to walk you through right now and give you kind of the most important bites of that, so that you can go action it. The first one I just call the Google registered level, then the fully registered level, then the optimized website, service content, blog content. It makes sense when we go through it all. Can you follow? Okay. It's been a little bit more quiet in the chat, so just seeing that you're all following along. Okay. Okay. Yes, let's make it happen. Okay. Awesome, Krista. Let's go to the next. So as we go in and do all this, I think one question that I think is fair to talk about before we go in, should I really do all of this myself, or should I employ an agency to help me with this? What's the right approach? Which I think is a fair question. And I would also say, it really depends. So some of the businesses that I've worked with do everything themselves, everything from, building the website to managing, all the different steps basically on there. Some would outsource everything, and some do something in between, where outsourcing some parts and doing some things themselves. So within the business, within the team. And I tend to kind of recommend, somewhere in between, where some things we do ourselves, some things where we can save time and get a better result quicker, we try to outsource. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we kind of go along as well, so that you're using your time as effectively as possible when it comes to this. So on level 1, this is about getting your Google business profile listing. So I'm sure, do you guys have how many of you, give me a yes in the chat if you have a Google business profile? I'm hoping I will see some. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So I expect most of you will have that. If you don't have one, because this is basically what enables you to be a part of that map pack that we saw at the top, right? It's the thing that Google uses to portray and to present your business to the world and to clients there. So naturally, it's really important that we have it, and it's easy to create. So if you don't have it, head over to google.com/business. Do it today if you don't have it, because it takes a couple of weeks until your location is verified. They're sending a letter and everything. So make sure you do that today, so we get it up quickly. And then what I would say is more general, really invest the time in completing everything inside of that profile, or all the core information, what category of business are you. I would spend a little bit of time here to make this as complete as possible, with images of your location. You can download the Google app and do a 360 view of your location, really give Google stuff to work with, like, because in the end, what Google is trying to do is just like their role is just to match the client who's looking for something with the best possible provider of that, right? And the only way Google will know is if you give information to Google, right? So invest a bit of time to do that, because way too many businesses don't. Like, they get a little bit excited, like setting this up the first time and then forget about it. But like, invest a bit of time to make sure that your profile is up to date with images, that you're actually listing the services that you offer. Because it's like when you have all that information in your profile, that you give it a chance to be displayed when people are searching for that type of information. And images is an important one. Even like an image itself contains so much information that Google picks up from just like the type of work you're doing in that business. So like, make sure you feed it with images and make it look good. Yeah, and I see some ideas of like photos of events also outside. Absolutely, it's like really give people a sense of the vibe in your business as well. It's going to help sell your profile. And like Q&As, you can also ask questions in there and give, you know, answers to these questions. Again, it's an opportunity to kind of get more information and content on there, so that you know, Google understands when to show you or when to show someone else. So, you know, spend a bit of time there is my strong encouragement. And the other piece is on reviews. So that would be like the number one factor, other than having, you know, information so that Google in the first place understands when to show you. But that would be your reviews. So make it really a habit to ask for reviews. If you're not doing this already, or to run an activity maybe in your team as well, so that, you know, with the happy clients that you have, to really encourage them to go out and ask for review. And you can create this link, which is basically, you can generate this from within your profile. So you get a direct link that you could just send to your clients, so that they can leave a review. Like, you can automate. My recommendation is really to try to just do this manually, like face to face. Like if the client is happy, you know, they will be happy to leave a review. So you can just like do it manually. Like, of course, with your Salon software, you should be able to automate it as well. So like after sale close, you can also have this being sent out automatically. And it's real quick. Like if you're using Mangomint, just to show you, because I know we have a lot of Mangomint users on here, you'll have automated messages. So like, this is where you control all your different automated messages. And if you have like under sale closed, like when you basically close the sale, you can send a thank you email. That's a place where you could include also like, you know, if you're happy, leave a review kind of thing. And what I would also say, because depending on which platform you're working with, a lot of them want you to kind of leave reviews on their platform. Obviously this is a decision that you need to make, but my advice would be to like place your bet on like Google, which is like the dominant platform out there, to collect your reviews on and to build your profile, versus being kind of spread out and having people leave reviews on a lot of different platforms. All right, so I spent a bit of time there on Google in particular, or like the Google business, because it's really important, and I think it's something you can go and like just look at immediately after we finish today, to improve that. What I also would encourage you to do is to list your profile or list your business in other places as well, other relevant sites outside of Google. The reason we do this is twofold. Like, people are using these platforms to find businesses like yours. So if you have a presence there, obviously that makes it possible for them to find you. But it also is a signal for the like algorithms online, and like if you look to the Google search engine and also other places, that your business is like legit, has authority, is something that is like properly listed in all the different places and has, you know, links referring back to the business. It's also good for the like authority in the eyes of the algorithms for your business to be listed. Here are the like beyond Google, where I would prioritize first the big four. So like Apple Maps, something that is installed on a lot of people's phones today, probably on your phone, and people use that to search in the local area. Create a profile there. Yelp is still, as we could see in like the search result earlier, it was showing up right when we were looking for services. Has a big place for the type of for like salon and spa businesses. Make sure you have a profile there. Don't necessarily need to create like, because they have like paid stuff as well. I would just create a free profile and make sure you have a good presence there. Bing is another search engine, just like Google. I'm including it because it's a fairly easy exercise to get listed on there. It's much smaller than Google is today, but I think it's also one to count for a little bit. There's a lot of stuff happening there right now, so would make sure to have a listing there, and then Facebook as well, that you have a profile, because also like Facebook, I'm not sure we saw that in the example we showed now, but typically would also show up for like business or like brand name searches when people are searching for your business. It will show your website if you have a Facebook profile, and it just gives you more room in that search result page. So, Facebook is another one. And what I also would say is, do like we did earlier, like the search to see what comes up when we search for your type of business in your area. Other sites that are coming up in your country that might be like area specific, or for your like type of business, there might be some specific sites that are relevant for you as well. So I would encourage you to check that as well. All right, next we're going to go to talk about website. So your website, because we could see in that search exercise we did earlier, there was a lot of like Salon websites coming up when I was searching for the balayage, and we could see images coming up. And all that is really being pulled from these businesses' websites. So it's important that you have a website. It's also something that you own, right? If you look to social media, at the end of the day, like the profile you have on that platform, you don't own that. You're just like borrowing that little space on the platform. Like your website is an asset that you own. The content that you put on the website is what search engines will look to, because like Google, for example, doesn't really want to promote other platforms that are also selling ads that are in the same business as Google is, right? So they want to promote other businesses' websites. So you want to have a website, not only to like for search, right? But it serves many different purposes. But like my message is just every business should have a website. And they should play the role of both like attracting new visitors to your business. It should also play the role of like branding and making sure people understand, why they should choose you over another business, and, a place for you to tell your story. And it should also play the role of selling your services and what it is that you want new clients to like come in and book for, or also for existing clients, right? So let's focus on the first one first, about, how your salon's website will attract more customers. So just a couple of things to consider when it comes to your website. You might want to like just do an audit of this after our call today. But like, what makes it attract? Why does it show up in search? So like, really, the first one is user experience. So making sure that your website is just intuitive and easy to navigate. Like when people land on your website, do they immediately understand that they've come to a barbershop, if that's what you run, or that they come to a nail salon, if that's what you run, or a skin clinic, or like, do they immediately understand that that's the case? And is it easy to like find the information they need? And does it load fast and all of that? So, back in the days, it was more important to have a lot of words on your site, like that you wanted your site to show for. But in today's reality, the algorithms are getting smarter and smarter, and they're looking at users' behavior, and do they land on your site? They're finding what they need. They might even book. Then they looked at that is something good, and your site and your site's content should show more. So user experience is just important to think about, and then just having information on there, that you have information about your address, your phone numbers, that Google can understand, like where is your business located, and what is your business about, so that you have all that information on there. And the other factor that also helps your website show and your content show is also, which I touched on earlier, when you have other places linking back to your site. So whenever you have the opportunity, like if you have a local speaking engagement, you're doing something in another business, like try to have them link back to your site as well. That's going to help your website show up better too. So those are like some top line, but important aspects that will make your site show better. And I think when it comes to like making your site sell, there's things you can do on the site, but also this is an area where your, the Salon Spa software that you're working with should help as well, and should like do a bit of that selling. Real quick, actually, since we have, so on the Mangomint platform, since we have a lot of people using Mangomint on here, we recently introduced something called service customizations, which is basically gives you, so I'm just showing you like a demo site that I'm just working with here. But so if I'm in, let's go back from start. So if I'm in, the online booking platform, and I would select like, okay, I want to book nail services, I want to book manicure. It allows us to do these kind of things, to have like add-ons. So like when people want to book for a manicure, do we want to offer like nail art with that? How many fingers? Charge more for that, increase the service duration? Do we want to add on like other enhancements to our service, that allows us to like, increase the value of that sell? And this is the kind of things that I mean, where your Salon software can help you with the selling and making sure that like all the relevant services are properly introduced and that you're, increasing the earnings that you're making at each appointment. So just wanted to show that, since that's a newer, like, there's a lot of like new things in that area coming with Mangomint, and we have a lot of Mangomint users on there, so that you're aware. Right, so we're getting towards the end here on the things that we need to work on. So after we have our website set up, like our business is registered in the right places, we're talking Google first, the other platforms that I talked about, we need to create content. Okay, so we need to add information to our website that will be found by the search engines so that they show your business to the relevant users. So the question here is really like, okay, so what is good content then? What should we be creating? So a couple of principles is you want to create content that people actually are looking for. So if you're posting, for example, like on your Salon or Spa's website, you're posting information about, an event that you had, or you're posting information about, a new member of staff joining, or like these kind of things. It's nice, and I think we should do it. It's like nice for branding, and it's nice to share. But it's not the type of content, right, that people will be out looking for. So we want to put out things that people are out actually searching for and looking for. The other piece we want to consider is that we want to make sure that whatever we then put out is that it actually drives our business, right? So, if we run a spa business and we maybe decorated a nice Christmas tree, I'm just making things up here, and we're putting out like a post about the Christmas tree, and we start showing up when people are looking for Christmas trees, it doesn't really help us, right? So we want to make sure that it aligns with what we're doing, and also that we kind of have in the back of our head that the content that we're putting out now should be as relevant now as it will be in like a year from now, 2 years from now, so that it really like stays relevant for a long time and helps draw in more clients over a longer period of time. So in a nutshell, what this means, we don't really need to spend a lot of time on like researching here, I would say. So what I would encourage you to do is to focus on your services. Create content about your services, because when you do, you kind of achieve this. People are looking for the type of services that you offer. And if you offer like kind of niche and specific services that no one else does, that's a great way to have new clients finding you, because they will be out looking for like, okay, who could offer this type of service in my area? And you will show up if you have information about that on your website. So, talk about your services and have information about your services. And the way I recommend you do this is kind of twofold. Where I would start is to make sure that you have like a dedicated page for like your hero services, the ones that is like your bread and butter that you're selling a lot of. I'm sure like we saw some, like maybe I can even go back to like when I did the balayage search. I think we saw a lot of Salon websites here, right? You can see like they're showing up here with a specific page that talks about balayage. So, we can go in and look at this one, which will be a page that goes into with more information about the balayage service that they offer. And that's really what you want to do. Here's another one. You can see also like going into balayage, and there's a dedicated page here that talks about this specific service. So that's really what you want to have. You want to have like some rich information about those like big services that you offer, that you want to make sure that people show up for when they're searching for, that manicure Chicago, or like, that's that, big service that your business is offering. So that's what I mean with dedicated hero pages. The other piece is also like blog. And here you can be a little bit lighter. So it doesn't need to be like such a time investment, like, because you might want to do a bit of a time investment. You might want to like use an agency or stuff like for your like service sections and like that information about your core services that you want to promote. But for blog, you can be a little bit more pragmatic, and something that is working really well is to show like client results. Obviously, it depends on the type of business that you run. If you can show client result, if you're doing that kind of like what hair salon, or if you know color services, nails, like, so it depends on like how much you can do that, or then post about information about your services. Like the examples I'm showing on here is from for those of you who follow the Salon Business YouTube channel, you will have met My on there, who runs the salon called Peach Stockholm. So just let me show you that real quick what she's doing, because I think it's a great example. So this is a salon located here in Stockholm. So you will see like there's just a ton of posts. This one is from today. It's like brief information, really. It's like just what soft highlights is what's happening on this one, some images, a little bit of information of what's going on, and then kind of like, so it's almost like a social post, or like what you would see on Instagram. But the difference is like when you put this out on your website, this is being found, this is being shown in the kind of the image search, which you wouldn't if you were to just leave it on like your Instagram page, for example. So that's what I mean with kind of blog, so that you kind of keep that updated with more specific information. So that is like I went through that. I think I managed to cover it fairly well within the half hour after some intro. But these are the like 5 different levels that I encourage you to focus on in order to improve your visibility online. What I would say also is like when you do this work, it's not like posting on social media where like you put something out there and then you get an immediate likes and stuff like that. But it's like you're putting this content, you're doing this, and it takes a bit of time until your site starts to get found and so on. But it really lays a solid foundation to make sure that you're being properly found when people are looking for the services that you offer. So we covered all of those. Naturally, I didn't go into everything because there's a lot of details that can be covered. And I have a ton of resources here, including like a full course that actually like shows you on each of these things that I covered, like top line now, if it's about how to optimize your Google My Business profile, if it's about like how to create content, all of that. I have like a video lesson for all of them. I have checklists for like what makes good content, all of that stuff inside at the Salon Business. And I will be allowing a few more people in here. So, this will not be come at the charge or anything to join that. So if you want to head over, if you're interested to be part of that and to be part of the community that I'm building right now at the Salon Business, head over to thesalonbusiness.com/join. And I want you to fill out some information there. I'll show you really quick what that looks like. So let me see. There we go. So you'll just like land on something that looks like this. You'll just like go through this application, submit some information about your business. The reason I'm doing that is just to make sure that as we're building out this new community, this new group at the Salon Business, I want to make sure we have the right people in the right groups together, because then you will get more value out of it. So that you're kind of hanging out with people who are in a similar position as you are. So I want to understand a little bit more from you there. So if you want access to all of that, go over to that URL, fill that out, and allow me a bit of time, because I'm going to process all of these manually to make sure we kind of get the right people in with access to the right things. So fill that out, and within the next, hopefully sooner, but like 2 business days, I'll make sure that you kind of get the access that you need to have on the platform. Great. So just want to see if there's any questions before we finish. So I said 30 minutes plus like 50 minutes questions. So we ran over a little bit. So just want to see if there's questions. Yes. So I see Tiffany, I'm interested how much. So there's no cost for this. This is which is pretty awesome. I would say. So, get your, just fill in your information. It's more about just making sure we have the right people together and that you get value out of it. So just complete that. And I see just some comments on short posts, interesting, from Anita. Yeah, absolutely. Like fashion. Yeah, and I see Sebula as well is asking around the social media, like I don't know what to post. And this is like something I hear a lot, and there's often like a stress around social media, as what to post, coming up with ideas. So there could be some structure to that, but I think it's also the way you kind of approach the platform. And if you see it as a place where maybe people discover you elsewhere and go and explore your brand on your social media, that might relieve a little bit of stress, and just making sure that the experience that you're providing there is great versus using it as your main source for attracting clients. Social, you can use also paid versions of social in order to reach like more specifically targeted to new clients. Something we can talk about in an upcoming session here as well. So bummed from Maggie, just jumped on and I missed the whole webinar. Will you post a recording? I will. So you'll find this whole thing I'll probably post it on the YouTube channel and ping you a link to that. Thanks, Georgina, as well, for pinging the link in here. So yeah, it's going to be you will have the recording. I'll also put the recording, of course, inside the area that you get access to if you go through that application. And if I think we're a good fit, and when I put you in the right group, you'll also have access to that, plus a ton of other resources. So the question coming in from Cheryl, thank you, very informative. How long does it take to set up all these search engines with content? So it's really, there's like, out of like these levels that I walked you through, I think some are more do once and then you're done kind of thing, or do once and then come back and check on an update of it. It's like your Google My Business profile, other profiles. It's more like, you might need to spend a day or something, not necessarily a full day, but if it's the first time, creating all of that. And then when it comes to like content, I think there's a bit of time investment when you want to create like these hero service sections on your website that I talked about, that talks about your main services that you want to promote. That's certainly an investment of time. You might even want to consider to have someone help you with that as well. But obviously, you're still going to need your involvement because you're the one who knows why your salon is offering those services in a very unique way and so on. And that's something that only you can provide. So you will need to work on that. So there's some of that, but then you have that up. But then ongoingly, really, when it comes to blog posts, and what I would encourage you is also to when you have a team, to work with your team and get your team involved. This is when, because that gives more also room for them to be creative and to share their work, and you sharing the spotlight on them, good for team motivation. But it's also allows you to put out more content, because then you get more content created if you allow that freedom within your team to go and to post that as well on your website. But yes, so there is certainly time. It's a time investment. I think some you can outsource, but I'm not going to say that you just do all of this in an afternoon. It's a bit of work. Okay, so thanks for that. I'm just seeing if there's some other questions. I see some is still dropping in. I see we have some marketing agency in the chat as well. It's great you're making some connections, helping each other out. That's awesome. Okay, thanks for the teaching. Okay, is there such a thing as too much? So I'm guess you're thinking about too much content. So no. So this is also the thing, because people will find what we're talking about today. People find your content because they're looking for it here, right? It's not you pushing it to them. If you're pushing content onto someone, then there's a bit too much because you're kind of annoying when you do it, and you need to kind of balance that. But here, when you're publishing things for people to discover, there's no such thing as too much. So it's obviously it's about investment of time and like using your resources effectively. Awesome. Thanks a lot for like great engagement in the chat. And I see a lot of thank yous and interesting. Didn't mention YouTube. So let me just catch you on that one as well, because you see that I'm on YouTube. Maybe you've seen. And I think for a because YouTube is more of a global platform, not saying that you cannot be visible locally, but it's harder. It's not like Google where you like really like people who are searching for your services based around your salon will see your business. Google is more of a global platform. So it makes more sense, I believe, when you want to build a brand nationally or even globally to like have a strong presence there. If your goal is mainly to attract clients, which is kind of the angle I'm coming at in the presentation today, all the views and the reach you're getting on YouTube might not be just from like people who could become clients in your area, but it's more about like could be from everywhere. So that's why I'm not so much focused on YouTube in here, but certainly something to consider if you want to build a national brand, a global brand, that kind of thing. Okay. So let's go. So Hans is also asking, it's great that you're offering this for free, but some suspicious people will wonder what's in it for you. It's a great question. So there is nothing. So the reason I can offer this for free is that we're now the Salon business is part of the Mangomint platform, the Salon software, which personally I believe is the best platform out there. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. So, we're doing this together, which is like, obviously because, we want to create the best place for salon business owners to grow. If that's with software, is that with education, because you need both. And to enable that, we're making just the education for free. So that's why it is. Whether you decide to actually use Mangomint in your business or use another software, it's up to you. Like you can be part of this. You can watch our trainings. This is like platform neutral. But that's why it's possible for us to do it for free, which means that I think, and I'm excited about this, like the level of education, the level of content you get here, it's like it's beyond a lot what you would pay a lot for. So make sure you stay tuned to all the stuff that is coming. Kind of like we're on a really excited journey with this brand. So, and it's like you're all part of like the family here. So yeah, I mean that's it. Okay, so maybe there's more questions now dropping in as we go. So I can go a little bit longer for those who are still around. How can the Google page show higher up when I search up the services? So I think basically, how can your website show higher up when you search for your services? It's really like the 5 steps that I just walked you through. That is important that you need to like invest your time in or like focus on. That's how your services will show up. So like services specifically, having dedicated service pages on your site, on your Google My Business profile, making sure you have your services listed on that profile. Ideally, when you start to produce content, if you're doing blog, talk about your, the result of your services, talk about those services so that there's content, there's pictures and so on out there. So when people are out trying to look for someone who can provide that service, it's impossible to not bump into you, basically. Okay, thanks. Definitely going. Yeah, great to see that you would, because nothing is like, I see you taking action basically, and you're updating Google My Business page. That's fantastic. Filled out the application already. Awesome, Tiffany. And I like Anita's response to Hans as well. Yeah, we're really like trying to build something extraordinary here in my view, and I'm really excited to just be part of it, and I'm excited to have you part of it, and you can play whatever part of it you want, and it depends on how much you want to engage in what we're building. But yeah, so yeah, Google have SEO backlinks. Yeah. Okay. How soon will the recordings go out? So hopefully tomorrow the recordings will be up. Okay. I'm mainly seeing like comments of getting to action and that this is great. So not so many questions. So I'm going to wrap this up now because we're almost at the full hour. It's been a pleasure hosting this today and, walking you through this. I hope, stay tuned to the Salon Business channels. If you feel that you want to be, be more part of this, submit an application there as well. So I'll look at that so you get access to some more things. And yeah, that's it. And I look forward to just seeing you inside of an upcoming session. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. Take care. All the best. Thank you. Thank you.